For 10 years in prison, he did only one thing every day. Whenever someone came in, he would deliberately go over to them and secretly memorize the design of their key. Then, at night, he would make a model from memory. He would draw even the smallest detail dozens of times to ensure the key's design was absolutely correct. And it was. After searching the guard's room, he wrapped a piece of paper and put it into the lock's keyhole. He just pressed the bottom of the paper a few times with a pencil. Upon pulling it out, 2 marks appeared on the paper, indicating the length of the key. The third step was to sketch the key. He took another piece of plain paper, placed it over the keyhole, and pressed it repeatedly against the grooves. Then, using a pencil, he easily made an impression. Now, while the design existed, the key-making material proved to be a huge challenge. Metal was very difficult to find in prison but wood was easily available, but as soon as he shared his idea, he was flat out denied the chance to escape. "You've gone crazy, it will break," Harry's friend said, to which he replied, "It won't break, no matter what you use it against." While this was the case, they had no better option. So, while working in the workshop, Harry managed to steal some pieces of wood to avoid the guard's attention, and decided to hide them in his thermos, but he had no idea when a guard walked in. To protect Harry, his companion quickly dropped some supplies to distract the guard. The guard probably sensed something was wrong. He lined everyone up and started searching them. When it was Harry's turn, he was so nervous that the guard immediately became suspicious. The guard picked up Harry's thermos and poured all the coffee inside, then he shook it a few times. Luckily there was no sound of wood chips from inside. In fact, Harry had already stuffed a cloth inside, and that's what saved him. When the night quieted down, Harry began making the car key. He made marks with a knife, then smoothed each part with sandpaper. He glued the key parts together on his lap, then dried them with a lancet. Once he was sure the pieces were firmly stuck, the only job was to rub, and rub according to the design. After repeated attempts, the key from his memory was finally ready. With a slight twist, Harry excitedly put the key into the lock and tried it. With a gentle turn, the wooden key smoothly turned the mechanism inside, and the lock opened with a click. But sadly, before he could celebrate, his hopes were shattered by the sight before him. In fact, the second door's lock could only be opened from the outside. How could someone open it from the outside while staying inside? But Harry refused to give up and continued making keys. Whenever he got a chance, he would look at the bunch of keys hanging on the guard's belt and sneak out at night to craft them. Then when everyone was together on cleaning duty, he would take out his key and test it. Harry truly was a mechanical genius. The second door's lock easily came undone with the burned key, but as soon as Harry tried to put it back in, the key slipped out, and with excessive force, it finally broke inside. Hearing this, Harry panicked. The trouble was that he heard the guard's voice coming up the stairs. The others quickly got to work, and Harry was so scared that his fingers were trembling trying to get the key out. At this critical moment, his companion immediately created a commotion. The footsteps were getting closer. The guard was now upstairs. Harry had no choice but to pretend to clean. Fortunately, instead of coming in, the guard turned and went to a cell on the other side. That's when Harry got a chance to remove the broken pieces of wood. But the keyhole was clear, but there was no way for the people to return. So, Harry, depressed, lay down on the bed waiting to be caught. Soon after, the guard came to lock the door. Harry sat up terrified, waiting for the impending storm. But little did he know that seeing the people outside, the guard would assume it was his colleague's fault for not locking it properly. Inside Harry's cell, Harry heard the guard leaving, and a burden lifted from his heart. Now he had the key to the second door, but the question was how to open it from the outside. This was the biggest problem. But one day, while Harry was working in the shop, he suddenly saw a spinning wheel and got an idea. He created a wooden rotating handle. He fixed the key to one end of the handle and attached the other end to a broom. Then, all he had to do was extend the broom out the window, put the key into the lock's keyhole, turn the key with the handle, and thus the second door would open. Just then, a patrolling guard in the distance stopped upon seeing Harry. Harry, fearing he would be seen, ducked down, and the next moment the key fell to the ground. But before he could think, the checking guard's footsteps slowly started approaching. In a panic, he quickly took out some chewing gum, put it in his mouth, and began chewing loudly. Then he went back to the window to stick the gum to the key and pick it up again. But after several attempts, the key was gone. Like the video to see the next part.